Games, board games, board games. I might be talking about board games, board games, but I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and I'm going to talk about Kallax. I'm not going to get into too many technical details so you can relax. I guess I'll just talk very briefly about this thing, about a storage solution after I finish singing. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. 10 a.m. ish UK time, time for Busy Beats and Board Game Blether. And episode 854. What is Kallax? Is it really great for board games, or is it just a silly joke? And so, yeah, this is going to be a quick show about, yeah, something that doesn't really matter. And hopefully, no one has any ego invested into it. I mean, like, I don't really. We all care to some degree, but if hopefully no one's going to get upset, hopefully no one's going to take this as a you should do this. Look, if Calyx is right for you, then use it. What's the good thing about Calyx? I guess it's relatively cheap, it's easy enough to assemble, it's sturdy enough, and yeah, the spaces. Look, if the spacing works for you, then great. But I was just curious, is Calyx really something that most board gamers use, or is it some sort of big in joke? So let's crack on, and first I'll quickly talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights, recent highlights. Hmm. So, though was hoping I would be getting better, that's not happened at all. Um, my lovely next door neighbor said that they would get me a few things from outside. I'm really excited by that. So I might actually have something sweet, something festive like mince pies in the house. Going to get some new fresh things as opposed to just eating tins. That's the highlight. Um, I played a game on Board Game Arena about tennis. It took me ages to find someone and played it through, didn't have any idea what I was doing. But yeah, been a really rough day. That's pretty much. But yeah, I'm warm. I've got clothes. I've got windows. I can see the light. And even though it's wow, it's really dark today. I don't want to show people out my window because I'm always cautious about doxing myself. But you can like this side is where there's a window right there, and this is how dark it is. Um, Morning Manuels, who says, I think a lot of their popularity comes from being in the background of the majority of board game reviewers' backgrounds, so it can start to look like something you must own, or you're not a real board gamer, I guess. Hello, Yoda. I mean, Yoda, you've got Calyx, right? And I think there's some truth in what Manuel's saying, that because a few reviewers and whatnot have, promoted this, because a few of them have it, then it becomes a bigger thing. And yeah, let me talk firstly about brilliant thing. Brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? Shelves are a brilliant thing. I mean, I'm not talking about Calyx. I'm not talking about any particular solution, just shelves in general. Because, I mean, sure, you could make a big pile of stuff. I mean, especially with board game boxes, you could, in theory, like pile them 3 meters high. If you, but then, like, what if you want to take the bit out the bottom? I mean, then you've got to either like lift that and then slide it out and then lower it very gently, and then they might get crushed. I mean, the shelves bear the weight. The shelves allow you to slide in and out stuff more easily. They allow you access to stuff. I mean, shelves, I mean, we just take them for granted. But shelves are brilliant, especially when the shelves go way up to the ceiling. I mean, shelves, yeah. Gosh, shelves. Thumbs up for the shelves. 100%. Thank you. And Yoda says, I do have Kallax, but they're no longer on screen. And so, yeah, as always, if you've got any questions, comments, please feel free to follow. That's the reason why I do these live, to get some interaction. And if you want to ask some questionably quick questions or sillier stuff, now is your time. I mean, this whole episode is silly stuff, let's be honest. So, first of all, yesterday I made a poll, and there's already a whole bunch of people voting. This is clearly struck a chord. I mean, when I get more than 50 votes, I feel like, okay, people really care about this stuff. And if I get, and this is only from one retweet from from Oliver Kino of Tabletop Games blog. And yes, about 60% use a Kallax right now. 7% used them in the past, but no longer. And 1/3 of people never owned a Kallax. They never interacted. Well, presumably they might have interacted with them in a board game cafe or whatever. And 0.7% of the people, so I guess that's about 4 voters, came across this somehow. I mean, either on my timeline or Oliver Akina's timeline. I don't know who these people are who are following one of us and don't play board games, but there you go. I'm glad that I put that, in there. Anyway, so that is the thing. And let's go through some of the photos. So, wow, this is expensive. Ben Jam wants to suggest, hey, Woody, high shelves. I mean, this looks really pretty. I will admit this. I mean, looks very fancy, but I've got to say, it doesn't look sturdy. I look at that and I think, is that really going to support all the board games? I'm a bit concerned about that. And Manuel, thanks for listening, who says, yeah, they are bulky, their cubes are hard to use properly unless all you have is Catan-sized boxes. I don't know if I would necessarily agree with that. I would say that yes, little things don't fit brilliantly in them. Like games that I make myself. I mean, the sorts of games where actually I've been reading the rules to this game that I got off someone, Rick and Morty Total Recall. Let me make that bigger. So, like, these kinds of games, yeah, I agree, they don't fit brilliantly. And these kinds of games, it would be nicer if, maybe it was a bit thinner. But, yeah, I think that you can have, like, one messy cube with a bunch of things in a pile, or maybe just put these little games here and there and all that. Yoda says, I would definitely put the heavy games on the bottom. Oh, you mean for the other one, yeah. You definitely. I mean, even with a Kallax, I'm not going to put the heaviest games on the top. You want to make. Okay. A few people said, I do, but it houses my books, not my board games. And I never realized it was such a thing until the Kickstarter was so specific that it fits in one. Manuels, thank you for the comment. I'm saying that from experience. For small games, you need to pile them up, and then they either just cover the front of the cube, or you double stack and then forget about the ones you can't see. Maybe that's just me. Manuel, I know what you mean, because I am a fan of small games. I mean, again, whilst, yeah, Seize the Power, that was going to be a relatively big box. I mean, yeah, honestly, Seize the Power doesn't even need to be that big, probably about this big. But Seize the Power is definitely a lot bigger than anything else I've made. But yeah, like, I'm not working exclusively on small games. I am ready to make other stuff. But yeah, it does depict my taste. I like things that pack into a small space. I like I prefer um the original version of Hanamikoji compared to the newer version, which is a bit bigger. Um, Even the original version I felt was a bit too big. I mean, for a card game, I want just like maybe 2 centimeters more than the space of the cards. That's all I need. And Manuel says there were several games with either irregular sized or shaped boxes or large ones that just didn't fit properly. So what do you use? What is your shelving unit of choice? And please do let us know. Um, Dominic Krabushitz had no idea what was going on. Someone else is like, nah, this is what I'm all about. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Just meant to click the little love icon. I mean, sure, that looks good, but are they being sarcastic? That looks that looks like a Kallax to me. I mean, if it's not a Kallax, it's close enough that um and then we've got Karen C, who wants to give a shout out to a folding bookcase. I've seen one of these. I do find that they're nice for small areas, but I also found that if you've got a lot of stuff, like Kallax isn't pretty. Kallax isn't and there's no denying that something like this, where someone says, I didn't know about them, so I got my own custom built shelving. I mean, some people in America have so much space, and it's amazing. Like the whole concept of I'm going to have this house, and this is my house for like decades to come. That's such an alien concept to me. I mean, my parents are lucky enough to have a house, but like, I don't imagine ever owning something. And yeah, I do think that's certainly something with a few narrow shelves, a few bigger shelves. There's something nice there. And I like there's some nice beveling. It does look a lot more aesthetically pleasing. And this one says, hey, I got the Evan, which is, again, to me, it basically looks very similar like a Kallax. I mean, and then box throne. Okay, so this is where every single box has its own space, and every single box can be taken out individually. And this isn't even more specific units where your games need to basically be that width. If you have tiny games, then and I don't have anything to say about that. Like, look, just work out what works for you. I think that Kallax, it's cheap, and if you don't have nice shelves in your place, if you need more shelves, then it's fine. 99% of games are going to fit within it. I mean, I think that in this day and age, if you get a board game that's bigger, that cannot fit into a Kallax, I think there is clearly a problem there, because as we pointed out, more than half the people you like use a Kallax right now. And if we like add up these things, it's like almost 2/3. So yeah, um, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything more to say. But Manuel says, I use an IKEA Beste. I don't know how you pronounce that. Yeah, which allows you to place shelves in several heights. So it's kind of modular, and you're changing where those shelves should go. Okay, yeah. They're wider and allow you to have doors. Okay. I have to admit, I know some people say, oh, I want things to be hidden behind doors. I like a curtain, or I like, doors so it's all plain color and I don't want to see it. I want my place to be kind of chaotic. If I could take all the doors off my cupboards and replace them when I leave, I would absolutely do that. I mean, the only reason I'm not doing that is because it would, yeah, I don't think I could. I'm not that much of a DIY person. But yeah, I'm all about seeing the stuff. I want to, when I come in, like, I want to be like, yeah, that's the outfit I want to wear. I know you might be thinking, well, Bez, don't you always wear your red outfits? Yes, I do. But sometimes I wear the red vest with the red jumper, and sometimes I wear the red t shirt. You see the difference, like, completely. And if I'm wearing a red t shirt, it's like, well, do I wear, the slightly darker shades of red, or do I wear the. It's all and, the finish, it depends on how I'm feeling. Um, but yeah, in all seriousness, um, and that wasn't me, that was actually serious. Um, Board games for me are a similar thing. I want to have it on display. I want to see, oh wow, I've got all these games that I could play. Out of sight, out of mind. I believe that you want your games in front of you so you know what you can play. And it's like, yeah, I'm excited by that. I'm excited to have this game that I took because it was offered for me for free, and yeah, I'm going to play through it and see what's it, read through the rules, and yeah, I'll tell you what it's like, I'm sure. But yeah, if it was just in a box behind a door, maybe I'd completely forget about it. Instead, and this isn't the best organizational system, I will admit, it's right beside me on my bed, so I remember about it. And I do think that there's a problem with things being in boxes and things being behind doors. By having, okay, here's all the things. I went to a friend's place a few weeks ago, and she made me bacon, lettuce, tomato, and we played a few games. And the question came, okay, what do you want to play? I looked through the collection. We didn't have long, we had maybe an hour to play. I was like, oh, that's something I'm interested in, that's something I'm interested in. And they both say that they'll take about 20 minutes. Okay, we can probably play both of them. Let's go for it. And it allows other people to tell you what they want to play. It allows you to have access to all these things straight away, as opposed to that door. That extra hiding away can be problematic, in my opinion. Um, Scott Nicholson has a great video where he assembles and compares several IKEA solutions for board games, says Manuel. It's a few years old, but still relevant. I mean, speaking of Scott Nicholson also mentioned. I even took one apart when I moved to a different house and reassembled it. Yeah, Scott Nicholson, clearly an advocate of the Kallax. There we go. Anyway, that's it. Kallax, do you have any questions about anything else? Otherwise, let me ask you the question of the day. Question of the day. Here's a little question before we go on our way. My question of the day is, what's your top 3 favorite animals that you've never touched? Your top 3 favorite animals that you've never touched. So, I mean, I've touched. Have I touched fish? Like, I've touched fish sometimes. I'm sure I must have touched my goldfish at some point. I've touched cats and dogs and some birds, but like, top 3, I'm going to go for giraffe. Just like, really cool, like, long neck, cool pattern, digging that. Elephant, yeah, gentle creatures, like with the swinging trunk. I mean, just I like these things that look very different. And I'm going to go for a pufferfish. Yeah, I want some representation for him to see bright colours, just bloop, and then small. Bloop. That's quite cool, isn't it? Like the ability to just make itself giant. So yeah, what are your top three animals that you've never touched? Um, Yoda says koala, rhino, and blue whale. Oh my gosh, yeah, blue whale. That's the is that the largest creature? I mean, like I know that there's a giant skeleton in one of the museums that I visited, and it was amazing to see. Wow, this is actually a baby blue whale, and how big it could be, and when you compare it to everything, yeah, that's amazing. And rhino with the horns. I mean, it's almost like reminiscent of all the old dinosaurs. Koala. I mean, those are so cute with like the little ears and um. And Manuel says red panda, another great choice with the markings and the tail. You know, I only discovered red pandas in 2014. True story. When I kickstarted In a Bind, now known as Yogi, and I had an option for someone to draw a picture of them as one of the cards. Someone sponsored that and said, I don't want you to draw a picture of me, but could you draw a picture of a red panda? And I said, you understand the cards are going to be black and white. He said, no, 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 no. A red panda isn't just a panda that's red. It's an actual creature. I was like, wow. So yeah, elephant and coral. I have myself touched coral. Otherwise, I would totally go for it. But yeah, coral, that's amazing. Anyway, thank you for those answers. That's really lovely to hear your opinions. And it's Christmas Eve. And my question is over to you. What are you up to? You can share, Botany, if you want to. I am going to phone up my parents to let them know I'm not well enough to come over, and hopefully I will be well enough to come over before the end of the year so we can at least celebrate a few days together before the end of the year. Um, I have a sibling and family in law being there, so it would be really nice to be up there. You know what? I'm going to make a commitment to myself to play a game, like a game that's not on the computer. Maybe I'll play, you know what? I'll play one level of Questable, partially because I kind of have to at some point. That's the main thing that I'm working on, and partially because I know that it's nice to do something that's away from the screen. Otherwise, I'll just be sleeping and interacting with the screen all day. But yeah, I'm just going to be sleeping and yeah, maybe watching a couple of videos and yeah, still really dizzy and headachy, not feeling well at all. Yoda is working and then having a games night. That sounds lovely, and I hope you have a good time. Anything in particular you're looking forward to playing? Um, yeah, anything that you want to share? Anything? I promise that I care. So let's recap and wrap up before we finish up. So basically, some other people say make your own style, some people say do other things, but 60% of people are saying, yes, I use them now. I guess I should do a poll of if you use Kallax, are you happy with your Kallax? That's the follow up question. Are you happy with your Kallax? Um, like, I guess the answers would be I don't use Kallax, or yes, absolutely, somewhat, or no, not no, I'm not. So yeah, I'd be curious about that. Maybe I should ask. So yeah, I'll be bumming around in the bed, sleeping. Neighbors are, yeah, getting me some food, some lovely stuff. If you want to check me out, I'm stuff the best in all of the places. Not that time interacting very much right now. Stuffbeds.com/streams. I've got Matt Green. I want to say yes. I'm meeting Matt Green on Saturday, and we're going to be chatting on Sunday about the redesign contest, so that'll be nice. And yeah, if you want to suggest guests or whatever, then please do. Otherwise, yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. And Yoda says, I'm bringing Lacrimosa, Terracotta Army, and Tiny Tom to the games night tonight. That sounds. I guess they are not just on gamers, so they are having. Oh, so it's a prop. I thought it was like a work games night with people who don't properly play games, but like that's a highly strategic selection. So at this point, as always, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Lots of love. It's always lovely to see you. And I hope you are healthier than I am, have and manage to have some togethership with other people that matter in your life in a physical way, not just remotely. Lots of love once more, and the only thing left for me to say is bye 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Do bye 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye bye everyone. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely whatever. Bye bye.